Happy Friday and welcome back to another Saxton podcast. It's been a long 40 days without talking to you, Deuce. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. I guess we went into a little winter hibernation there. We tried to grind it out mid-season there, end of season for people, and we had some teasers to get it back to 500. I think we did all right.
Well, we're 8-2 in our last 10. I went back and looked. That run started with the Clemson shellacking of Ohio State in the bowl game, and we've been 8-2 since.
Yeah, I think that was one of our favorite picks kind of the year. We were both on that pretty hard right when it came out, I think. I like that we switched it up to the teaser format. It really sparked us, it seems like.
Yeah, we are 5-2 in the NFL playoffs, which is not easy to do come postseason in the playoffs.
No, and most people say teasers are a sucker bet.
Hey everyone.
But if you look at some of the numbers, they're actually, they are a sucker bet. They're actually harder to hit a lot of times straight up. So
Crazy year for Vegas. Seems like every favorite covered every week.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the divisional or the conference. I think it was the divisional round. It was Westgate's worst day ever getting beat by the public. So they took it on the chin a couple days this year.
Do you think it's just a coincidence and we'll revert back to the norm? Or do you think with some of the rule changes, such as the extra point, some teams going for two more often, the lack of parity in the league this year, what do you attribute it to?
If you look around at traditionally bet teams, Dallas, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, New England, I think there is something to the favorites winning a lot this year. They all have really good quarterbacks. Dallas, obviously, we're not sure, but Dak had a good year. I can't argue against it. The heavily traditionally bet teams all have really good quarterbacks, it seems like.
That, and I think on the opposite end, the bad teams never covered in Vegas. I don't know if they didn't adjust and make the spreads not high enough, or the bad teams were just that bad they couldn't cover.
I think you are exactly right. Obviously, the bad teams are bad. None of them have hold that quarterback, so it's hard to backdoor if you don't have a quarterback. But I do think you're right where Vegas did not adjust quickly enough. We saw some of the Browns spreads, even like week 8, 9, were under a touchdown when they were clearly a 2-touchdown worse team than their opponent.
Yes.
I think you hit it right on the head.
If we take the Browns out of our picks this year, we're probably buying a house right now.
The Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns sure got us a couple times.
Your overall impression of the NFL playoffs this year?
Boring. There's a couple of good games, but the majority for me, it was just not as exciting as years past.
Well, let's get right into the Super Bowl then. Our last football Friday until August. I say that somberly. I will certainly miss it.
Yeah, me too. It always seems to go really fast.
For the folks out there, we are 58-56 on the year. That 8-2 stretch really helped us. So
obviously not to our standards of years past. Not to our standards of our Super Contest League, but I think it's this is not the norm, and I'm proud of us for getting at least back over 500.
Absolutely, we got hot in March Madness last year. Hopefully, we can carry it over this year again.
Yeah, good point.
So right now, I am seeing the line at New England -3 over under 59. Your thoughts?
I think it's a good line. I think the over/under is really high, but both have shown that they can play offense at a high level. I'm back and forth on who I really like. I think I'm leaning towards the experience side, and I know that's a cop-out, but Atlanta just seems like one of those teams that the public's going to fall in love with because of their offense. And they do have a really good offense, so I'll be curious to see what Belichick tries to take away. My guess is the Freeman-Coleman combo is what he would like to slow down a little bit.
That was
But I
gonna
think it's a good line.
that was gonna be my question for you. What does Belichick take away? I've gone back and forth on Coleman, Freeman, and Julio Jones all week. I do agree with you. I think he does take away the running backs. It kind of goes back to the game plan he used against the Eagles in the Super Bowl where T.O. got 11 or 12 catches. And I think Julio Jones will do the same, but they'll keep him out of the end zone.
I actually don't hate the matchup for New England's defense. We've been banging on them for a while that they're not that good. They do bend a lot, but they don't break a ton. And I think they're going to stick Malcolm Butler on Julio with Devin McCourty over the top. That's a pretty good combo. Malcolm Butler's a really good corner. McCourty is one of the better safeties in the league. And I think you'll just see them play Logan Ryan on Mohamed Sanu and let Mohamed Sanu kind of take that role of the guy that's going to get a bunch of passes.
What if Atlanta were to win this game? What will they do well?
I think it's exactly what we just said New England's going to try to stop. I think Freeman and or Coleman have a big game. I think they use tempo to keep New England off balance a little bit, keep them from substituting. And if New England can't stop Freeman Coleman and can't get pressure on Matt Ryan, I think it's a long day for New England's defense.
Defensively, what will Atlanta do well if they are to win this game?
Same thing, same blueprint that it always is against New England. You have to pressure Brady. If you don't, you're going to get smoked. Atlanta does have a couple pass rushers. I worry about the back end of their defense, though. Not very experienced. They haven't been good this year. I can see Brady doing some things. Here's an interesting stat. I think I heard right. New England has not scored a point in any of the Brady-Belichick Super Bowls in the first quarter. That would be 6 Super Bowls, 0 points in the first quarter.
That's correct. I think it's been a bunch of field goals. I think the most they've scored is 9 points in the first quarter.
Interesting stat. That tells me that they come out. Go, bud.
Some technical difficulties. It's been a while.
I hear ya.
So we were talking about the Patriots starting slow. Do you expect that again this weekend?
I'm interested to see. I would think the Josh McDaniels Tom Brady combo is smart enough to learn from those other Super Bowls and come out with maybe a more aggressive game plan. I think they have the weapons to move the ball all over Atlanta. Obviously, the emergence of Chris Hogan. I think Danny Amendola back healthy is another weapon that they can utilize in the middle of the field. I think this is a great spot for LeGarrette Blount and Dion Lewis, especially your boy Dion Lewis. I think they use him like Atlanta likes to use Tevin Coleman. I think he could have a huge game coming out of the backfield.
Do you expect New England to try and control the clock?
Yes. That's a great point. I think that's one way to play defense is to keep the ball away from the Atlanta offense.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head with Dion Lewis and LeGarrette Blount. Especially Lewis out of the backfield. I think that's a matchup nightmare for Atlanta. And I also think you hit on it with the wide receivers. I think this could be the first weekend that they really miss Desmond Trufant, Atlanta.
Totally agree. Speaking of injuries, a big one I think could be Alex Mack, the center. He's been hobbled in practice. He calls all the protection at the line of scrimmage. If he is not available for some reason, I think that is a huge loss for Atlanta.
I agree. That injury's been kept under wraps for most of the 2 weeks leading up to it. I saw it today for the first time.
Yeah, I'm not sure his extent of the injury. All I see is limited, so I'm not sure if it's more severe than they're letting on and he's actually a game-time decision or what.
Are you excited for the Super Bowl?
I am one that usually hates the Super Bowl. I think a lot of real football fans don't like it because there's so much hoopla. I actually am more excited about this matchup than I have been in years past, so I actually might watch this whole game.
I agree. Matchups are very intriguing. It should be a good chess match. Dan Quinn certainly familiar with New England, with defensive coordinator with the Seahawks. From a public standpoint, non-hardcore football fans, I think this is kind of a blah matchup. There's not a great storyline.
No, like you said, I think the hardcore football fan, the most intriguing thing to me at least, is what the hoodie is going to do versus Atlanta. To the lay football fan, it's probably the Tom Brady going for the most Super Bowls ever storyline, if I had to guess.
Give me a prediction before we get into the prop bets.
I am going to go New England 27, Atlanta 24.
A push.
A push. I like the push odds that you can bet on too. I think it's a sneaky shot in the dark.
Close game throughout, or is Atlanta scored to make it close? Late.
No, I think it's a close game throughout. It's just, for some reason, it's that when the Patriots play Super Bowls, every game is close, it seems like.
So, 51 total, are you leaning under then?
I am leaning under. I don't know. The line just seems really high, and it seems like the public is on the over just because of the offenses. Super Bowl jitters, I think, are a real thing. I think both teams come out a little slower. That just seems like what always happens. Or both teams are so hyped up they score early, and then there's that lull for 2 quarters. Something like that, I think, is going to happen.
The other thing that I never really took into consideration, and it's certainly not going to affect New England being there so often, but a lot of the Eagles players, every year around the Super Bowl, they'll come on the radio and talk about the experience. And that halftime lasts 20 to 25 minutes. And without being there, they always talk about how it took them 6-7 minutes in the third quarter to get back into the game from sitting in the locker room for 20 to 25 minutes.
That's a great point. I totally agree. That's, being there 5 times for most of these guys is a big deal. I totally agree. Atlanta, they've barely been past round 1 of the playoffs, so this is a totally new experience.
Yeah, it certainly helps that Quinn's been there, but as a player with the adrenaline going, to go sit there for 20 to 25 minutes and then try and get it back amped up, it has to be hard.
Yep, I agree.
One other question for you. It appears that Kyle Shanahan will be going to San Fran. It's almost a done deal if it isn't already. Any effect?
I don't know. I can't imagine that it's like college where you're worried about recruiting and kind of taking control of a program. I don't think it's a big deal. I guess you never want any distraction. It's got to be a small one. It's got to be in the back of his mind. But I don't put any credence into it.
Good hire for San Fran?
I'm not sure where else they were going to go. I guess the GM. Everyone's talked about the GM hiring is a little head-scratching to me with some of the candidates that were on the table. John Lynch, I liked him as a player. I don't know about him as a GM, but yeah, I think Kyle Shanahan's done a good job everywhere he's been. I think he's proven himself to at least get a shot.
What's the deal with Kirk Cousins?
Lots of moolah, that's what he wants. I think this is playing out pretty much the way we talked about last time we talked about it. He wants big dollars. I think the Redskins are unsure. They want to make him the top paid quarterback in the league, which is basically the numbers he wants. That will probably be surpassed when Stafford and Luck get a deal, but still, I think he's going to play under the franchise tag, or he's going to get traded because some team makes a crazy offer to trade for him under the tag.
Would you be surprised if he was not in Washington next year?
Yes. I'm not saying he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, but some of the radio people where I hear that he's a game managing top 20 quarterback, maybe, I think are insane, and they haven't watched a game.
Would you say that he holds the upper hand in this negotiation?
If there were 100 chips, he has 99 of them.
Yeah, I would agree.
There is not, and I'm being generous to the organization by saying they have one chip. I mean, the only reason they have one is that they're going to put the tag on him. They can prove it again. And, if he doesn't prove it, then they have some leverage. So they at least have that in their back pocket.
If they do not trade him as under the franchise, is there any worry of a holdout?
No, I don't think so. I think he's indicated already that he's willing to play under the tag. I think he knows if he has another decent year, his price is only going to go up. If he has an average year, I think his price stays the same.
Any other news around the NFL you'd like to touch on before we get to the props?
I don't think so. Look forward to starting the NFL draft process, which is one of my favorite things.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody does it better.
Really good defensive draft this year. Stacked.
So I also agree. I think New England will win the Super Bowl. I have 31-24. New England or the under official? For you.
If you want to just keep the teaser rolling, I'm good with New England in the under teaser.
So we get New England +3, under 65.
I like that.
All right, official.
Yeah, count me in.
To the props, I'm just going to run through them. Anything jumps out, yell it out. Opening coin toss, heads or tails, both -102.
Nothing for you.
Will either team score 3 straight times?
No.
+155, no.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes. That excludes
3
extra points and 2
times?
points.
Isn't that a lot?
I agree with you. I think that's a good bet, no.
I'll take a little sprinkle on that.
Here's an interesting one. Will either team score in the first 6.5 minutes of the game in light of what we just talked about?
What are the odds?
Yes, -140, no, +120.
They're in a dome, so field goals are always a possibility here, a long-range one, but at those numbers, I would rather have the no than yes.
Will either team score in the final 2 minutes of the first half? Yes, -250, no, +210.
Yeah, I like the yes there.
I
Seems
agree.
like every game, someone makes that late drive where the defense just doesn't even try.
Will there be a missed extra point? Yes, +330, no, -400.
Let's see. I'm gonna go. There's some good odds there on no, but percentages tell you there won't be.
I think it's worth a sprinkle with the way Gostkowski has struggled towards the end of the year.
I don't even know who the Falcons kicker is. Is it Matt Bryant still?
I think so. Will Tom Brady throw an interception? Yes, +150, no, -170.
Yeah, just looking back, they are usually conservative. I don't like Atlanta's secondary without Trufant either, so I'm not on the yes there.
Will Matt Ryan throw an interception? Yes, -135, no, +115.
Wow, I think I would sprinkle on the no.
Interesting.
Is this the Cycly hour here?
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Shortest touchdown of the game. Over under 1.5.
I'll go under. I think LeGarrette Blount gets a 1-yard TD run.
That's -150.
I don't want it then.
Team to score first. Pats minus 130, Atlanta plus 110.
I'm going to go Atlanta here because the hoodie usually likes to defer on the kickoff. I know he didn't in the AFC Championship game. We'll see what he does, but traditionally he defers.
Longest field goal, over under 45.5.
I'll go over.
That's minus 130.
Man, picking the
Shortest field goal,
side.
26.5.
I don't like that.
Longest touchdown, over under 49.5. Either team.
I think I like the over there.
Minus 110.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we might see a couple big plays. There's a lot of explosive players in this game.
Largest lead of the game, either team, 16.5.
Oh, I'll go under there. That's got to be giving money, though.
Plus 110.
Wow. So they think someone's going to be up by 16.5?
That's really interesting. I expected this to be back and forth the whole, maybe.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's going to be within 10 the entire game.
I believe the largest lead the Patriots have had is 13 in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's a free money bet right there.
Will there be a safety? Yes, plus 600. No, minus 900.
No, I'm not betting on the safeties.
Will there be overtime? Yes, plus 700. No, minus 1100.
I think I would put $1 on yes.
Here's yours. Will the game be decided by exactly 3 points? Plus 450. Yes.
Give me that. I would put $1 on the 3-point and the overtime parlay for a monster payday.
Will there be a successful 2-point conversion? Yes, plus 270. Nope, minus 330.
Ooh, I'm going to say no, actually. Super Bowl guys are going to get conservative.
Total passing yards by Brady, 300.5. Minus 110 on both sides of that.
I don't want it then.
Total number of players to have a passing attempt. Over 2.5. Under 2.5.
So the flea flicker's in play.
Basically, is somebody other than a quarterback going to throw?
Yeah, I'm going to go under.
I like this.
I think they're specifically saying Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah. I like this one here. Total completions by Brady, over under 24.5. Even though it's minus 110, I think it's over.
Yeah, so do I.
Total pass attempts by Brady, 36.5.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I think they're going to control the ball. I'm going to go over, though.
I think so as well. Total rushing yards by Tom Brady, over under 2.5.
Over. I think he gives 3 quarterback sneaks for 3 yards.
Plus 110.
Although rushing sacks are included in rushing stats, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I'll go under then.
Will Brady score a touchdown? Yes, plus 500. No, minus 700.
Ooh, the yes is a little intriguing there with the goal line sneak.
I agree.
That's a good number, I think.
Total rushing yards, Dion Lewis, 39.5.
I'll go over.
Dion Lewis receiving yards, 22.5.
Over.
I agree. I think that's a lock.
I like that one a lot.
Total receptions by Dion Lewis, over under 2. Over is minus
Over.
150.
Over.
Rushing yards by Blunt, 60.5.
Under.
Will he score a touchdown? Yes, minus 175. No, plus 155.
Ooh, too much. I think you will, but that's too much.
Receiving yards by Edelman, 100.5.
Under.
That's minus 110. I agree, though.
That's way too high.
Total receiving yards by Hogan, 59.5.
Ooh, that's a good number. Yeah, I think that's too good of a number to bet.
I think this one is worth it, though, on Hogan. Longest reception, over under 21.5.
Over.
I agree. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Receiving yards by Martellus Bennett, 38.5.
Under. Although I would like to see them get him more involved.
Total number of Patriots to have a rushing attempt, 4.5. You'd think Brady, Blunt, and Dion are going to get the 3.
Maybe in the end around to Edelman once. I kind of like the under there.
Minus 160, probably not worth it.
No.
First downs by the Patriots, 23.5.
That's a lot, but I actually kind of like the over.
Yeah, minus 110.
They like to chip away at it.
Total points by the Pats, 31.
I'm going to go to the under.
Yeah, I think at 31, I think is the highest they go.
Yeah, I think it's a good number, but I just lean a little bit under there.
This might be a good one. Total first quarter points by the Pats, 6. Under 6 is plus 160.
6 is a good number. I thought that would be a little higher. I thought it would be in the 9 range, so I'm going to lay off.
You like interceptions by anybody on the Pats?
What's that?
Do you like interceptions by anybody on the Pats?
No.
Everybody's
sure Malcolm Butler's high on that.
Butler's plus 250, yes. Minus 300, no.
Yeah.
All right, to Atlanta. Gross passing yards by Matt Ryan, 320.5.
I'm going to go over.
Completions by Matt Ryan, 26.5.
Under.
Those were both minus 110 as well as this one. Pass attempts, 38.5.
Over.
Will he score a touchdown? Same odds as Brady, plus 500, yes. Minus 700, no.
Yeah, I would lean no on him. He doesn't seem to get many speak attempts.
Longest completion, 43.5.
Oh, that's a tough one. Boy, I'm going to go under, actually.
Minus 110, not a ton of value. I do like the under, though.
No, not at all.
How many touchdown passes do you think he throws?
I'm going to say 3.
Over 2.5 would be minus 115.
Yeah, there's not good value there either.
Will he throw an interception?
I'm going to say no.
Minus 120.
Wow, that's surprising. I think I would go the other way.
Yeah. Devontae Freeman rushing yards, 54.5.
Wow, that is really low. So Vegas obviously thinks that that's what they're going to take away. 54.5 is absurdly low, though. I might go over.
Total rushing attempts by Freeman, 13.5.
Over, right? I mean, those seem stupidly low. They're going to lose the game if he's under and under there.
Yeah, definitely. Receiving yards for Freeman, 33.5.
Oh, that's interestingly high, actually. I am going to go under there because I think it's Tevin Coleman that gets the receiving action this week.
Rushing yards by Coleman, 47.5.
Wow, that's too high. I like the under there.
33.5, same receiving yards for Coleman.
Yeah, I might. What's the value on the over?
All these have been minus 110.
Oh, man.
Both
I
ways.
like the over, but I don't know about the minus.
Total receiving yards by Julio, 98.5.
I am going to go under.
Longest reception, 25.5. Julio.
I'll go under there, too, because I know those are both contrarian.
Total receptions by Julio, 6.5.
Under. I'll say he has 6 for 80.
That's even odds. Everything else has been minus 110. Will he score a touchdown? Yes, minus 120. No, even.
You know where I'm going. I'm going to go with the better odds. No.
Sanu total receiving yards, 45.5.
I like the over there a lot.
Minus 110.
I'm on that one.
Longest reception by Sanu, 17.5.
Over.
Total reception, Sanu, 4.5.
Over. Clearly I'm on this guy.
Will he score a touchdown? Plus 145, yes.
Yes.
Gabriel total receiving yards, 49.5.
He's a sneaky one. He's one where it's just one catch might break something open. I'll say under just because he doesn't gobble up yardage. He's not a high volume receiver, but that one could be broken with one play.
I do think that the Patriots are susceptible to that long pass. And if it's going to happen, it's going to be him.
Well, I was trying to think of the matchups. I'm assuming Logan Ryan with his size will be on Sanu. So that will leave somebody like Patrick Chung on Gabriel, which is a horrific matchup for New England.
Yes. First downs by Atlanta, 23.
I'm going to go under.
Total points, 28.
Under.
I agree. Let me just skim through, see if there's anything else worthwhile. More completions. These are head-to-head matchups. Brady or Ryan? Ryan is a 1.5 point favorite. Or 1.5 completion favorite.
I like Brady.
He is minus 110.
Yeah, I think he is the higher volume completion guy.
MVP. Who do you got?
It's tough to go against Brady if they win, but the value is probably not there. So
Exactly,
I'm
4 to
go
5.
With Dion Lewis.
30 to 1 on Dion Lewis.
Yeah.
40 to.
That's where I'm going.
I think the other one is either Edelman or Hogan.
Yeah.
Edelman's 20 to 1 and Hogan's 40 to 1.
Agree. What's Brady?
Brady's 4 to 5.
Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, it's one of those three. Actually, might sprinkle all three.
I guess Julio's got a little value at 12 to 1 if we think that they're going to take Freeman and Coleman away.
What's Mohamed Sanu?
I was just going to bring him up, 60 to 1.
Oh, yeah, give me that all day.
More points. Patriots or Russell Westbrook on February the 5th?
Who does Westbrook play?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
I'm going to go... I actually have it right in front of me. I'm leaning towards Russell Westbrook, though.
This one's obviously off the board, but your thoughts, what it would have been? Matt Ryan touchdown passes or Tiger Woods 4th round bogeys?
I would have gone bogeys.
Here you go. Washington special. Falcon sacks or Alex Ovechkin's total points?
That's a good one. I will go Falcon sacks. I think they get them 2 or 3 times.
Let's see if there's anything else with good odds. 1.5 total interceptions.
I'm going to go under. I just don't... I think one quarterback goes unblemished.
Total field goals, 3.5.
I like the over there, actually.
And total sacks 4.
Man, neither team is very good at rushing the passer, so I don't have anything on that one.
Another Washington special for you. Tom Brady minus 3.5 over Bradley Beal's points against the Pelicans on the 4th tomorrow.
I might go Bradley Beal, actually. He's hot.
Yeah, the rest of the props are all NBA tie-ins that I see. Anything else on the Super Bowl?
I don't think so.
To the golf world quickly. Your thoughts on Tiger?
Not surprising. It's sad. It seems like we're entering Freddie Couples territory. You texted me that earlier. Just seems like once you hurt your back, I don't care what sport it is, no one's ever the same. And I think we're kind of at that point. He's proven if he's healthy for a full year, he's risen back to number 1 3 or 4 different times after an injury or after a layoff. This time seems a little different to me. The reports are that he has been lifting weights twice a day and doing those crazy runs again, and people close to him are baffled by how much time he's putting into working out and how little time he's putting into golf. So
Would that lead you to believe that he's feeling a little bit better than? I guess this is somewhat of a surprise. The back again.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird situation. Obviously, I think part of it is his game is nowhere near where he would like it to be. He doesn't want to go out there and shoot 80 upon 80, but the rotation of the golf swing is obviously very different than working out. I think the combination of the two is what is terrible for him at this point.
He did.
I would like to see him, I've said this a million times, I would like to see him go back to that leaner, more elongated swing and body type. I know you can't be 21 again. Obviously, you're going to be a bulkier person just because of age, but I would like to see him lose 20 pounds and kind of lay off the working out.
He did play last week, the 2 days. Your thoughts on his swing from last weekend?
It's totally different than what it looks like in practice. In practice, he gets the club out in front of him on the downswing, especially with the longer club, the driver. In competition, it's totally different. It gets stuck underneath and behind him, and it's all timing. And he either snaps it to the left or he pushes it out right because he's stuck underneath the golf swing plane. The short game looks fine. It actually looked good last week at Torrey. If he didn't have a good short game, he would have shot 78. The second day especially, I know he played the easier North course, but that day it was windy. The average score was 71. He shot a 72. So it looks like he's put the work in. He doesn't have the short game issues he did last year. And this is just a full swing issue. I think it's his ego and stubbornness. I think there's probably 10 different old school style teachers that can fix him in a month, but I don't know if he has the forethought to do that. I just don't see him doing it.
Your thoughts on the rest of the PGA Tour in the couple weeks that we've been back here in 2017?
Kind of similar to years past, you're starting to see the really young crowd take over, especially the class of 2011. That's the Spieth class. Justin Thomas putting his stamp on it this year with 3 wins already. We're seeing your boy Hideki Matsuyama do some really good things. There'll still be the odd tournament where a veteran contends, but I think we're going to start to see the under 30 crowd really take over.
Do you expect Justin Thomas to sustain this for the rest of the year? I mean, not the winning, but the consistency.
Yes, I do. His putting, everyone who plays golf goes on a heater for a couple of weeks with their putting. To me, his stroke looks much better just at its core. So, and that's really what his weak part was. I would like to see him tighten up his wedge distance gaps a little bit more. That comes with age. When Tiger came on tour, that was his weakest part of the game too, was his distance control with the wedges. But to me, he's just got every tool in the basket to be top 5 player in the world.
We'll get deeper into it next week when we do the golf preview, but can he contend for a major this year?
It would be dumb of me to say no just because of how talented he is, but I'm not sure he's there yet. I think you got to sniff a few. He has only played in 7, I think, so I think you got to play in a few more before you really contend, especially at Augusta. Now, the one course I will say that he could have a shot at would be the PGA. PGA sets up like a regular tour event, and he seems like he is built perfectly for the PGA. Hit it far and make a ton of birdies. It's at Quill Hollow. Now, a totally different Quill Hollow. It's renovated, but still a course where he should do very well at.
With the success that Tiger had when he was younger, he's, once in a lifetime player. But Spieth has had some young success. Have we put unfair expectations on some of the younger guys coming up?
Yeah, we kind of expected Tiger 2.0 with every guy. It's the same thing in the NBA. Everyone's supposed to be MJ. Yeah, you have the Tiger standard, and then you have the regular tour standard where, guys like Phil are basically a once-in-a-generation guy, and we think everyone's going to be that. Just think of last year with Spieth. He won $5 million, and he won twice, and it was considered a failure because he didn't win a major.
Right.
The guy's 21 or 22, it's, yes. To answer your question, yes.
Do you expect, I hate to say it this way, but do you expect a bounce-back year, for lack of a better term, for Spieth?
I do. He didn't have a good round yesterday to start the Waste Management Phoenix Open, but to start his year off, he finished 3rd, and now in 3rd at the Sony in Honolulu. And to be honest, if you look at his numbers early on, he was below average, field average in putting both those weeks, which is unheard of for him. That tells me he put a ton of time in the offseason, quote-unquote the offseason, on his swing, which I think he did need to do. I think it's just reps and getting back to practicing a short game. I think he'll be fine, especially when it comes that second weekend in April. I think you'll see the real Spieth again.
Any notable equipment changes of late?
There's a bunch of guys changing equipment with the Nike situation that unfolded at the end of last year. You name a guy that was in Nike, they've probably changed their whole bag out by now. Most notable one is probably Rory, who's gone to a majority Callaway bag. Callaway's profits were actually up 7% from last year, so they are the one company that seems to be bucking the downward trend of golf, and with the pros, they're starting to sign more guys, so they've kind of figured something out.
Waste Management thoughts for the weekend?
It's a great event to watch on TV. You get to see basically a frat party at a PGA Tour event. They drew a really good field this year, so you'll see a bunch of big names. I haven't looked at the leaderboard in a couple hours, but last I looked, Phil was starting to climb up the board. Matsuyama shot 65 yesterday. Ricky Fowler was up there, Matt Kuchar. So you're going to see a bunch of good players go into the rowdiness that is 16 and 17 at the Waste Management.
We'll start getting your picks out before the tournament start, but your pick to win the Waste Management this weekend.
I took Matsuyama this week. He's played here 3 times. He's finished 2nd, 4th, and 1 last year. So I thought it was a no-brainer.
We'll touch upon it a lot more deeper next week. Anything else you want to hit on in the golf before the preview?
I don't think so. I think basically for most golf fans, the season is starting now. We're really ramping up the West Coast swing. Pebbles next week, and then you get Riviera the week after. So good golf on tap.
We'll hit on PGA, NFL recap, and start getting into the association as it starts to heat up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, big news in the association with the Wiz. They've drawn me back into caring, which is probably a disaster, but I'm all in on the association right now.
Well, it was great to Talk again. Great job by you today. The official is New England +3 under 65.
Tip of the cap to the host today. Great to be back.
Talk to you soon, bud.
All right, buddy. See ya.